You are going from living your life a certain way, becoming a certain person, and you're then coming back to another life. And it reminds me, when I was like 17, I had to come to the UK, and I came on my own. And my family was still in Pakistan, my mom, dad, parents, everything. And when I got to the UK, like, it was very different for me because my uncle was in charge. He was like very easygoing, do what you want, this, that. So I lived a year on my own, like living life how I want. And then a year later, my parents turned up. And it was like going from complete freedom and doing whatever I want kind of thing to now being back in this environment, which is very different, where your parents are this and this. And I think 5 years is a very long time. I did it for a year. And in that time, you've grown as a human being, you've changed, you become more practicing, you've got different things going on. So it's a massive shift. So I think the first thing is for you to realize that it is a big deal and it is very different and it is so different to what you're used to. The second thing is to realize that when you come back to a place like this, you might have changed because of the experiences you went through, but sometimes places where you come back to are the same. And this is one of the reasons why I love coming home. Like, I'm in London now, in my parents' house, and when I come back here, it's very similar. It's very the same. And for them, they see you the same way as when you left. Maybe a bit more wiser and a bit more like a doctor and all this stuff, mashallah, but they see you in the same way. So it's a very challenging thing, especially when you're going the way you went. There's ways you can go where, when I came from Pakistan, or when you went to Japan, where you were like maybe in Insular with the family, and then you go off on your own, then you got freedom. That's like a much easier thing to adapt to, I think. What you're facing now is something standard, and you need to know that this is normal. This is normal in terms of what they're expecting from you. So what I would do in a situation like this is I would basically try and understand what is the current situation, because there's also a danger of you. There's a danger of you actually doing it injustice as well. And what do I mean by that is that when you're actually dealing with this situation, how are you dealing with it? The reason I'm saying this is because we're here talking about, like, you've changed, okay? And you've got to be careful that you don't see them. Like, they might see you the same, all that stuff, right? So what I'm saying is that a lot of this is to do with your own view, okay? A lot of it is to do with their views. And then a lot of it is to do with your expectations. A lot of it is to do with their expectations, right? So these things need to basically come together. And the only way they're going to come together, apart from you figuring out you, is actually through communication, right? Because what needs to happen now is you need to create a bit of a vision for your life in Iraq. You can't live in the past. You don't want to live in the past, right? And you want to basically sit down and say to yourself, what's my vision for myself in this country and for my life and everything? And then you need to understand, when it comes to my family, what's their vision of me living here and my life and all this stuff, right? And obviously the best thing is when the family's vision and your vision is very similar and it matches together and stuff. Of course, like all relationships, there's going to be compromise. There's not going to be a complete match anyway. There's going to need some adjusting. Then it's about, okay, what are my non-negotiables? Like, for example, you might say, every day, I definitely want to spend time on this, right? And every day, I don't mind if I have to do this. So you get clear on what you want, get clear on what they want. And then it's about actually sharing those expectations and being clear with each other about it. Because most of the issues come up because of mismatched expectations and poor communication. So if you can focus on those two things, as well as actually getting clear and setting goalposts for what looks like your vision of a good life now, I think those 2-3 things will actually really help with this.